There are two important things about tonight's awards. First, we have an opportunity to recognise the excellence of the work of the Patchwork Foundation in promoting integration of deprived and minority communities into mainstream political life. We say thank you too rarely, we ought to say it more often. It's a chance tonight to do so. Secondly, we berate our politicians very regularly on many fronts. As well as the brickbats, I think they deserve some bouquets for the work they do. From my vantage point in the Speaker's chair, I know and see across the House parliamentarians who are dedicated public servants, promoting principles, standing up for causes, sometimes unfashionable, serving the needs of their disparate communities to very, very powerful effect. I think to salute those parliamentarians who are making a particular effort to widen the base of people who engage with the political process is very important. After all, Martin, we're always talking about tackling the problem of voter disengagement. Well, you don't tackle the problem of voter disengagement by engaging only with those who have always been engaged with politics. You tackle the problem of disengagement by taking active steps to reach out to offer encouragement to, and to provide a service to people who've previously taken no interest or switched off, been repelled by politics altogether. And all of the winners tonight from across the parties have in common that characteristic that they have worked to broaden the base of people engaged in politics. More young people, more people from ethnic minorities, more people from different faith communities, more people from the LGBT community, and so on. So they've done great work, and I think it's a good opportunity to offer them some plaudits and some encouragement.
And are there any particular challenges built in here, in the sense that there are often clashes of culture, particularly with ethnic minority groups in particular constituencies, and also some of the issues that are raised by minority groups might be particularly challenging for MPs to integrate with the fabric of their day-to-day work in the House of Commons?
Yes, I think that quite a lot of MPs who represent communities with significant ethnic minority populations have started to raise subjects which even probably 5 years ago wouldn't have been raised. For example, I think the whole question of female genital mutilation, the issue of so-called honour killings, the issue of forced marriage, to give but 3 examples, are, if not quite new, Martin, to the political debate on the floor of the House of Commons, pretty new. They've come in only very recently. Even if you think of the issue of LGBT equality, the focus on the subject is very much greater, more regular and more intense than it was 10 or 15 years ago.
And these are issues which actually any society ought to address, and it is minority groups that have actually brought it up to the fore. So they are helping develop a richer, more tolerant society.
A richer, a more diverse, more tolerant, and perhaps, dare I say it, also more respectful society as well. Now, of course, in one sense, if somebody's asked what is democracy, that person would probably answer, it's ruled by the people, and that means achieving majorities, or at least in an election, the party that is the largest of the minorities. But let's just focus on that word minority. I think that the quality of a liberal democracy should be measured not least in the way that the institutions of the country treat and show respect for minorities. The rights of minorities in a democratic free polity are incredibly important. And that might mean sometimes MPs standing up for unfashionable causes, not just following opinion, but working with those minorities to shape and lead opinion as well. And by doing so, they start by being regarded as very brave, but they come to establish as mainstream and unexceptionable what was initially regarded as brave, perhaps even reckless. And I think that's a great achievement of many of my parliamentary colleagues. They have put centre stage all sorts of issues over the last decade or so that were previously neglected or ignored. So it's a great fusion of forces, really. It's a combination of committed public servants-orientated MPs on the one hand, and the Patchwork Foundation and their network of minority communities on the other, coming together gradually but very perceptibly to change the face of modern politics. Now, it may take a while for it to be recognised, but it's happening in front of our eyes.
And when you say change the face of modern politics, do you think that eventually it will lead to a change in the character, in the nature of the Mother of Parliaments?
I hope that it will lead to a change in our nature and character. Quite what the makeup of the Parliament will be in terms of the balance of party forces, you can never predict. But I hope that the highlighting of these important issues will lead to a permanent cultural shift in Parliament towards a recognition of the importance of previously neglected issues. So the sorts of issues I've just mentioned will come to be regarded as very proper things for Parliament to debate. And secondly, I hope simply being reminded of the importance of the engagement of minority and deprived communities in the political process will cause Parliament, as an employer, Martin, to redouble its efforts to make sure that the workforce reflects the country. I've been at pains to make the point that, sure, we need to increase the range of representation in the House to make sure we've got more black and minority ethnic citizens, that we've got more openly gay people, that more people with disabilities feel comfortable and confident to stand for and serve in Parliament. Obviously, far more women are still needed in Parliament and so on. But I'd like actually to think in 5 years' time that in terms of women represented in the top jobs in Parliament, ethnic minorities represented in the top jobs in Parliament, people with disabilities represented in the top jobs in Parliament, we do much better. We've still got a challenge there. There are lots of people from ethnic minority communities working in Parliament. There's still nothing like enough serving at the highest grades of the professional service, and that's something I want to change.
Mr. Speaker, John Bercow, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.